Alright, welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to look at classes for Black Desert Online. We're going to go to the website, blackdesert.com, blackdesertonline.com. And this works for PC, Xbox One, PS4, XT here. These are all the current classes that are going to be coming to the game if they're not in the game yet for you. We'll go through all the classes and all their abilities. You can click through here on the website, look at the classes, some of their awakenings, different skins, some of the abilities. We can kind of just go through here, and also what you can do here is actually click on the videos. We'll go through them so you can watch combat video. So we can click on this and actually look at the combat video here. So we'll start with Shy. Let's see what she offers, and she's got some abilities. She's got this is an old video. It shows her boomerang. Shy is a bartered class. She's probably she is the top tier PvE grinding class in the game for low tier or low attack power, low gear score abilities. She can get into zones that she shouldn't be able to. So if you want to min max, flat out, she's the one you want to do. If you want to be a bard or do songs, she's what you want. If you want to play a lolly, she's what you want. She comes with a donkey, but she can also ride a horse now. So she's got a lot of things that are unique to her, but also she has a lot of opportunities to be really special. She also has big buffs on life skills. You can see her doing some life skills there. Grinding up some, I don't know, was flour or something. She also has some really unique, like I said, she got like it's not really like an awakening weapon. She also gets a secondary weapon which makes songs. She gets a drums, guitar, and a flute. Those items also give her an opportunity to like buff her class or group around her, bring out other pets to do attacks and stuff for her. That's actually one of her abilities in the game. If you believe it or not, it's actually called Play Dead. She can actually play dead and actually take away the aggro on a mob. Unfortunately, it's only for like a second or two. This is some of the donkey gear you can get, which is unique to her. She's a really kind of cool class. Her playstyle is kind of a little bit clunky. Some people don't like it. Some people really enjoy it. You can kind of see here, we'll speed through it a little bit, just kind of speed up the video. But you can see her chucking her boomerang around. This is actual in-game footage. On my video, I've actually got an introduction to Shy. You can actually watch that video and check it out. She plays really good. This is exactly how she looks and plays in the game. This is in-game footage, 100%. She looks really good because she's the newest class in the game, so graphically, their technology has changed and improved as the years have gone on. So she's obviously the newest class, so she's going to look the best graphically. She does a lot of cool little things in the game, which I think are unique to her. But like I said, if you don't like lollies, you don't like that kind of style, then don't play her. But if you want to min-max, then just skip all that and just step up under her, and then you'll be making money in no time with her, 100%. But you can see some of her attacks. Her songs, unfortunately, don't really do any attacks. They're just songs. So she's a shared combat class within the group. So, like I said, she is a traditional bard, which is unique to her. She can also do this in the game. People said that this wasn't realistic. She can't ride the donkey backwards, but she actually can. So again, a unique little ability that only her can do. Kind of cool. Let's get to the next one. Archer. He is the second most OP class in the game. His awakening's got a longbow, and then non-awakening's got a little crossbow on his arm. He's pretty cool. Watch this combat video. We're actually going to speed it up just to speed the video up here a little bit for some combat. We can actually look at it. He was unique. He was a global release. So all the regions got him at once. This is the wolves that come with him. Or he was part of his release was the wolves as pets you can get. The wolves are unique. They have some really cool abilities if you can get them. But one thing that was unique about him is he came with Awakening weapon and his crossbow. He came with two weapons right from the start, which on normal class releases you don't get that. We get one weapon, then later on we got the Awakening. They kind of released the content slowly. With Archer, we got it all at once, which was cool. There was a limit to how far we could level him up on his Awakening weapon until they released the story part of the content. But we did get to play with all the weapons right from the start, which is kind of neat. His longbow is overpowered. It does a lot of AoEs. You can see him using it there. He does a lot of big jumps and dashes. He puts down huge damage in PvP and in PvE. He's awesome in single target. He's really hard to kill in single target in PvP. So 1v1s, he's one of the best. As long as you can stay ranged and stay back and kite, you can basically kill everybody in the game that's equal gear score to you. So he's probably the top. I'd say he's the top tier class in the game for overall round abilities. So if it's something you're interested in, you like kiting, you like playing range class, that's the class that I would pick. Next, move on to the Lawn. The Lawn's pretty unique. You can see some of her abilities. She's got two big blades for Awakening, and then she's got these like little chained weapons for her main end. She's really unique on the fact that she's the only class in the game that can fly. She doesn't really technically fly, she glides, but she's the only class that can do that. So she moves really fast from pack to pack. She has a really fast mobility skills. Again, let's get into the video. If the video's too long, we'll skip it, move forward. We'll skip a little bit and just kind of look at her. We're in a combat trailer, so let's show both the abilities. She moves really quick. Like I said, she's PvP, she's fast, she's hard to deal with in some situations if you mastered her abilities. Both of her abilities are really cool. Her Awakening class is really cool. It looks really unique. And you see she's got like I think it's a pendulum she swings around and hits you with, which is really a lot of fun to use. It's got a lot of range to it. Getting some music mixing here too. Not off. So she's really fun. She's really unique. She's got some really cool costumes. So if you like that art style, that's definitely a class I would pick. Understand with any of the classes in the game are awesome. We're looking at Kunichi now. So Kunichi comes with Shortblade. This is a really unique weapon. You can actually use it on a bunch of classes. So Shortblade goes with Kunichi. Goes with Tamer. I can't remember. I think there's another one that uses Ninja. I think uses the Shortblade. So 3 classes use the same weapon. I think this is the only one that does this. There's 3 different classes, so you can level up the one weapon and use it on 3 classes, which is cool. Her Awakening weapon's like a big boomerang, or a discus that she throws around. Pretty fun. She's pretty awesome. A little breakdown of her. Read it for you. You can come to the website and check all this stuff out. Watch her combat video. So then you can see the Shortblade, some of her costumes. She's a lot of fun. She kind of got gutted on some of the nerfs that happened in Ninja. Ninja and her share the same kind of skill tree. They are different classes. Ninja's more single target. She was a little more AoE. And how they did the debuff or the nerf on Ninja, and they nerfed her at the same time. I think it was a stamina change. I can't remember exactly. They kind of screwed her a little bit on the way she worked. I'm not sure if she's fixed yet. But I do think that when Succession comes out for her, she'll probably get a big update and change to her, and probably get a lot of balance and reworked under her. Succession seems to be pretty successful so far, and it seems to be kind of rebalancing the classes the way that they should have been. So we'll have to keep seeing on how they progress with Succession on all the classes and what happens to especially someone like Kunichi. So Kunichi was an underrated class by far, and I know a lot of people enjoyed her, but they kind of got fed up with the patching what happened with BDO. So I'm not sure where she stands right now, but she is a lot of fun. And understand all these classes are valuable enough to farm. Enough. I understand that all these classes are valid enough to farm any PvP zones efficiently and make you good money. Uh, when it comes to classes, just pick whatever you think looks the coolest when starting off in BDO because you're going to spend a lot of time with it. So it's best to actually enjoy the class and actually play the style that you're interested in. Next, we're going to look at Witch. Witch is unique to Witch and Wizard. She's a little bit different on how she works. We're actually going to look at Witch and Wizard. Witch is more focused around CCs and crowd controlling, and Wizard is more focused around big AoE damage and nuking big groups. So if you're interested more about the mage nuking PvE DPS kind of skills, then go with Wizard. If you're more interested in crowd controlling and being a part of a group and PvE and then group fights, you'd rather be like helping your class out with CC in the groups and that kind of stuff, then go with Witch. But they both play fairly similar when it comes to PvEing. Their grinding is fairly similar. You kind of get a little look at them here. Give you an idea what they look like. Some of their animations. They do a lot of spins, a lot of nukes. As you can see, he's fighting Iron Mine there. He'll do a big nuke here. Does a big fireball. Just lays down on them, which does tons of damage. And as that levels up, he'll get stronger and stronger with it. This is probably the same thing, so we already checked him out. Valkyrie. Valkyrie is the next class coming up in the tree to get the Succession release, which is going to be happening, which we're on December 11th, 2019. She's getting updated in 2 days, so next Wednesday, which would be the 13th for us. She's going to be getting her update, so she's going to be getting her Succession skill tree, so we're not exactly sure what's going to happen to her yet. I'm making this video. But it should be similar to what you're seeing here, but just a lot more powerful. She was a lot of fun when she was a sword and shield like this, until she got her big sword and shield. She kind of changed a little bit, and some people she never really got balanced out. A lot of people got frustrated with Valkyrie and kind of left. There is a few of them running around. I think Valkyrie's probably the rarest class to still be actively playing in the game. You're not going to see many of them around. There's just so many better classes than Valkyrie. But she is still one of the top tier farmers in some of the end game grinding zones of the game. So she is a lot of fun to play. And hopefully Succession will bring her back to the top tier. So next we're looking at Maewa. Maewa is a lot of crowd favorites in BDO. A lot of people enjoy Maewa. She's single target. She uses like a poke with her awakening. Kind of get some looks at her skills here. I'm not sure what we're looking at here. Speed up the video a little bit here. So there she's using the short sword, looks like. Looks like she also uses the short sword. Maybe she's using a long sword. I'm not really sure, I can't remember. I think she's using a long or a long blade or something it's called. I think that's what it is, sorry. I think her and Maewa share the same weapon. Don't know. So she does a lot of spin to win stuff, but she's more focused single target. Especially if she gets to her awakening. But we've seen some stuff with her on a test server with her Succession. And she is very high damage. She's very good in PvP and very good at 1v1ing. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll be checking out Maewa. She's a lot of fun. Next to Ninja, which is this is Musa. Where's Ninja? So we're actually gonna look at Musa next. Musa is your traditional spin to win class. He does all the spins that you could ever think of. He does all the abilities you could ever think of, and he does it really well. He's fast. He has a big, huge movement buff compared to anybody else in the game. He can dart from zone to zone really fast. At one point, he was faster than some tier 5 horses in the game. And the way the stamina worked back in the day, he'd actually outrun a horse. So if you had a Musa, you didn't even need a mount. you could actually run faster with the Musa. You'd use some skilled combinations to get him faster than the horse, but technically you can be faster than the horse. And because there's no loading screens in the game, and there's no fast traveling, you have to actually travel around the world on the horse. So he became really valuable early game and playing him, and because he was all spin to win big damage, as you can see him doing some of his spins there, he just rips players apart and rips mobs apart as well. He was probably one of the underrated classes, but in reality he was just insane. Next up is Ninja. So we can kind of see a look at him. He has a short sword, then he goes to ascetic katanas, which are insane. He's your traditional stealth class. He has that stealth ability which allow you to get in and out of fights really fast. He was strictly built around 1v1ing. That's his specialty. He doesn't do well in farming high tier mobs because he's single target. He has some pretty cool moves. You can see his little log throw and he kind of disappears and then stuns behind them. He can also go into straight stealth and completely hide himself, which is unique to him. A lot of dashes, a lot of blinks, which are a lot of fun, but he just, unfortunately at this point, doesn't do a lot of damage to the mobs because he's single target and most of the other players do AoE damage. So he does lack the ability to grind as fast as some other classes in the game, but overall still a lot of fun to play. If you like PvP, he's definitely the class to pick. Watch more of the video here. We got Awakening Overlook. That was 100% there. This is kind of the stuttery pauses aren't like what's in the game. It's just the developers, when they make these videos, they like having these hard pauses. That's not how the game looks when it's live. It's a lot more fluid than that. They do a lot of screen shake too, which actually makes the game look jittery and drop frames. That's not realistic. The game's a lot more buttery smooth than that. Next, what we're looking at is Tamer, which is my favorite class. My personal main right now that I play. And Tamer is, to be honest, overpowered. Tamer is easy to get into, very difficult, probably one of the hardest classes to master. So if you want a challenge, try Tamer out. The reason Tamer is hard and difficult is she lacks a lot of defense abilities, and she has to use her movement abilities to get in and out of fights really quickly. So she can be grabbed really fast and have a lot of damage done to her really quickly. So if you do get caught in the middle of doing some damage or some burst damage, which she is very bursty on her DPS, you'll find her to be in a situation where she'll be knocked down and instantly killed. And that's a common situation for most tamers. If you end up getting into a knockdown stage, you're probably dead. Or if not dead, you're pretty dang close if you do get up. So understand, if you do play Tamer or decide to go with Tamer, that's going to be something you have to deal with and something you're going to have to learn to counter. So basically, if you're playing Tamer, don't get hit. Next to Berserker, here's some of his looks and skins. He's got an arm cannon and he starts off with 2 axes. Watch his combat video. I think honestly, Berserker is probably one of the best classes in the game for balance and overall skill ability. What his succession's going to bring to the game, we don't know yet. But his dual axes, you can see some of his movements there. He's got big damage, big spins. He was the original like beat 'em up class. When he switched to this, kind of showed his axes there, but when he gets his arm cannon, he does a lot of damage. It kind of changes really on how he plays. He was probably the most drastic change from his main hand to his awakening. It was really unique and really a lot of fun. I think it's worth looking at him for a long-term player that wants to play the game long-term. He's got a really good skill set to learn. He's not overly complicated, but he's not overly easy. So it does take some time to perfect him. So there is some challenger, I think, which is important. You don't want to be bored with him. And I think he'll give you that. He's got some really cool combinations you can really learn. Next is Ranger. Ranger's recently got Succession. So it pushed her. What she has for Awakening was two blades, which put her combat instead of being ranged into, for some reason, I don't know why Ranger became a close combat fighter, but she dropped her bow and picked up two blades for some reason when she went to Awakening. It should have been like a bigger bow or something, or a different style of bow, like what they did with Archer, but they got that right when they did Archer. Ranger kind of got the shaft there. She did speed up quite a bit when she went to Awakening compared to her bow. With her bow early game, Ranger was probably one of the best farmers in the game. She out farmed everybody when when the game was first released. She was by far extremely overpowered for making money, and currently in Succession, she's got that back. So it seems to be a case thing with Black Desert Online and Pearl Abyss. The newest iteration of their game or their classes seem to be back to their roots, and Ranger has brought that back to her. Succession to Ranger has brought that back to her and brought her back on the top tier of the grinders. She grinds super fast. She kills mobs fast. She's incredibly agile and quick, and she doesn't burn through a lot of stamina, which makes her really easy to get into in lower tier game grinding, which is be a lot of fun for a lot of players that want to play a range class. She's definitely something you should look into now. 6 months ago, I would say probably stay away from her, but she's in a really good shape right now with Succession. Next is Sorcery. Sorcery is probably one of my favorites. I like high skill, high challenge classes, and Sorcery is that. From her main hand to her Awakening class, she became into a what's called a Scythe, which was her Awakening. And I think, to be honest, I don't know, playing her in an ability with her main hand in Succession isn't going to be worth it. I don't know if dropping the Scythe to where she is right now and her abilities is going to be interesting enough to play. We'll watch the Awakening video here and check it out. She is in a position right now where she is overpowered if you can master her, but she's very difficult to master. She's probably the hardest class to master in PvP, but once you lock that down, you're almost invincible, as long as your gear scores are close or are in the same level. If you're on, like, say, if you're on 280 or 280 attack power, the next person's 280. If you mastered your sorcery skills and the other person's playing whatever other class, you're gonna beat them. Sorcery has always got that edge on people because of the way she's designed. She just outperforms once you've mastered that class. You'll see a lot of people that play sorcery on streams that do an amazing job, and they just wreck people with her. But like I said, it takes a lot of time, a lot of perfection, a lot of practice, and nobody recommends her for number one starting class, but definitely once you've got the hang of the controls, it definitely would be something you should check out. Especially if you're interested in a Scythe. Who doesn't like a Scythe? Come on. It's pretty cool. Definitely worth checking out. Next to that is the King. In my opinion, the King. The Warrior is the OG original class in the game. Next to the Sorcery. These two classes, he's got a great sword, which is amazing. The skins that come with this great sword and some of his skins are some of the best. We had the Berserker skin, which was some of the best artwork they'd ever done in the game, in my opinion. He's got back to his sword and board style with his Succession, and it has sped up his abilities so fast. that's put him on another level. His abilities with source succession are, I think, put him to the point where he's the number one class in my opinion. And I think that moving forward into the series that I'm gonna be playing Warrior Succession, I think it's the best class in the game right now, next to some other classes that are pretty close. But I've always been a fan of Warriors, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to show it off. Next is Mystic. Mystic is one of those classes, if you like beat 'em up classes, like doing a lot of fighting with your fists and feet, and you like martial arts. She's a pretty cool class. And we'll get into the difference between her and Striker in a second. One of the things that's awesome about Mystic is she's got a dragon, water dragon that goes with her, and her awakening. And I don't know if taking Mystic's awakening away from her, it would be something that would be ideal. She plays so well with her awakening that I can't see her working well with main hand, so I'm not sure what they're going to do for her for Succession. But we'll have to wait and see. As you can see in Awakening form here right now, that's what you're going to play. Mystic's focus mainly is around CCs, and then her animations are around kicking, doing damage that way. So she doesn't do a lot of punching mainly. She's more focused around kicking abilities. That's the way she was designed and art team designed around. So you'll find her doing more kicks than punches, but she is a fighter class, and some of her big abilities will bring this dragon out. As you can see right there. Which the dragon itself, when it does that, it's like a water dragon. It just does a ton of damage. So she's, as it sits right now, she's probably one of the top tier grinders in the game. One of the top tier PvPers in the game. She's probably overall, still considered to this day, probably the best class in the game. For a long time, she was the best class until Shy came out. So you can't go wrong picking her. She's pretty awesome. And who doesn't like a dragon, right? Pretty cool. Our team kills it, to be honest, with Black Desert Online and their classes. They all look unique. They all look cool. And to be honest, there's a lot of people that complain, oh, it's gender locked, just this, it's that. It has to be gender locked. To have the cool animations locked to the character models and built around the lore, it needs to be like this. And there's a reason why it's like this. Let's look at Striker. Striker's pretty cool. He's got some pretty cool, unique things. His gauntlets change into these bigger version of these gauntlets, and he brings in a bunch of clones that do a lot of attacks for him. I'm not sure if we're going to see that. We got Awakening Striker, so we'll actually see the clones. Again, Striker, I'm not sure how Striker's going to work with Succession. I think the way Striker's designed right now, he works good having both abilities, having his basic main hand and be able to switch from Awakening back to main hand right now is his forte. He's been balanced really well. In my opinion, Striker is the number one best balanced class in the game. For a long time, he wasn't like that, but he's got, so there you see his clones he spawns in, and they fight for you. So you do these abilities, and it brings these out. You see he's transforming into Awakening. You get these big gloves, and they'll do tons of damage for you. So this is all in-game footage. Like I said, Striker is the most balanced class in the game, in my opinion. For a long time, he wasn't PvE balanced really well in late game. They did some huge buffs and changes to him, and it put him into the top tier PvP grinding moves. One of the things that's kind of gotten sidetracked a little bit, he does a move right there. Not sure if I see it. There it is. I want to show you guys this. This is something pretty cool. Slow it down. Striker's the only class that does this grab. He'll do a grab. I'm not sure when it is. you'll see he'll grab the character model. He actually drags it across the ground right there. Or is it next one? I think it is. Next one right there is dragging the guy around. And he throws him in the air. That is unique to Striker. Nobody else does that, and some of the coolest animations in the game. If you like fight 'em, beat 'em up classes like Street Fighter and stuff like that, play Striker. You have a blast playing him. He's the OG when it comes to beat 'em up classes. And any other class that come out later, Striker should always be able to beat them up, in my opinion. You can't beat the OG when it comes to beat 'em up classes. He's just so much fun. For a long time, I main Striker. He was a lot of fun to play. Fortunately, I don't play him anymore, but he is, like I said, probably the best balanced class in the game. But when it comes to classes, play what you like, play what you love, play what interests your play style and art style the most. Because all the classes are pretty, no matter what anybody says, all the classes are balanced really well. And then the last class we'll look at Decayed. Unfortunately, Dark Knight has got some issues where she never really got any kind of really good love with her. We're looking at the Awakening version of her. Her animations and movement were some of the most fluid animations next to Tamer. And when you moved her around the abilities, she just wiped everything. And she comes with these this big blade that floats around. It's magical. It turns into two big blades. You can see there is what it does. That pullback move is one of the most enjoyable moves in the game when it nukes everything. But you need a lot of gear score to get her to do that damage. Unfortunately, she never got the buff she really deserved as the game kind of progressed and increased in difficulty. She never really got that deserved upgrade in her buff. Make her still be valid in the end game grinding zones. So for most people that need like 230, 240 AP, you're gonna need like 260 with her, right? So unfortunately, she's not really well balanced when it comes to damage output. She was supposed to be like a bursty kind of damage class, but she kind of got like, I guess she got kind of forgotten a little bit, maybe, unfortunately. Hopefully, like I said, with the Succession, when it comes out, it'll increase her ability to be strong again. But early game, when she was around like 230, 240 AP, she was really strong. She did a lot of damage in PvP and in PvE. She held her own. She farmed well. She was a lot of fun. So I think we can look at one more. And this is one of those special classes that we don't know nothing about, unfortunately. And that is the new Guardian. So what we're looking at right now, we're just gonna want an idea what we look at. She's got some sort of shield, some kind of great axe of some sort. I'm hoping to see on her awakening winning a two-handed axe. That'd be awesome. She's obviously a female class of some sort, and probably looks like from, not sure her regions, maybe the snow region she comes from, based on the KR website. She looks like she's coming from the snow region. Unfortunately, the snow region's not in the game, so maybe her lore will jest us back there eventually over time. But she looks like she's kind of almost based around like the Crimson Desert characters from the trailer. Not really sure on, like I said, the details of how her actions are going to be. Unfortunately, we haven't seen nothing about her yet. We will get to see gameplay footage of her on the 17th. If she hits Global Lab next week, we will cover that on our Twitch channel, which I'll put a link in the description below. You guys can come and check that out. We are going to stream as much as we can. We unfortunately don't have a schedule set yet. Due to real life situations, we can't set a schedule, but we'll stream as much as we can and try and cover the game as much as we can going forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace.